But let's show you dead quick how much it uses. I'm gonna put this toaster on with this guy. Shorts the fuse. Welcome to episode 3 of Low Carbon Lifestyle. Over the last couple episodes, the first two, I've looked into what it might mean to count our emissions and how shifting our electricity can help reduce all of our emissions. You can watch them hopefully here and here, or in the links below, we'll see. In episode 3, we're going to think about where our emissions come from in the home and have a little think about smart meters. My name is Tom, and this is a little series about a low carbon lifestyle. Sometimes this whole sustainable living can feel well intimidating, whether it's thinking you need to buy an electric car or install solar panels on your roof. The majority of us can't do that overnight. We can't do that straight away. Or it looks like completely changing the way you live, living off the land or turning vegan overnight, both of which are fantastic things. But for this mini series, we're going to talk through how each of us can lower our emissions in everyday life and what that might look like. Okay, so here we go, episode 3, coming straight from my kitchen in Durham. You may have seen loads of news stories over the past couple of weeks, I know I have, about drops in emissions linked to the reduced economic activity that we've seen due to quarantine. You could describe this as some kind of morbid silver lining, but from where I sit, the climate movement do not want to bring down the global economic system, risk the lives of tens of thousands of people and millions of jobs just for a small dip in emissions. We want permanent, long-term change without other loss. Despite the reduction in emissions today, the sad thing is that this week the Earth just experienced its highest CO2 concentration in millions of years, possibly ever. The concentration of CO2 was up at 417 parts per million. We tend to say a safe level is around 350. The curve known as the Keeling curve that plots the concentration of CO2 measured it in Hawaii, a high point in Hawaii, hasn't really seen a significant change due to the reduced economic activity globally. It may do, but so far it is rising as originally expected. So here's what the concentration of CO2 has done in the last 2 years. You see it peaks early summer, April, May, June kind of time, and then dips down to winter. We're coming up to the peak for this year. Over the last 65 years, you can see it is just risen. It doesn't even seem to be stopping to rise. This is just a linear curve. Over the last 300 years, it slowly rose, and then it looks like a hockey stick, an exponential curve. And then our estimate for the last 800,000 years is this sawtooth curve for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and then this steep peak recently. And we are basically today at the highest we've ever been on that record. There clearly will be a change to CO2 concentration linked to this period of time, this period of economic contraction. It might not go up as much as it would have done, but the Earth's processes don't necessarily change or respond overnight. So what does all this mean for a low carbon lifestyle? What does living low carbon look like for us in 2020 coronavirus Britain? What does it look like in your home as you're quarantined? And so during this coronavirus, COVID-19 quarantine, most of us will be spending a lot more time at home. And so my tip today for a low carbon lifestyle is to get to know how your home works and what low carbon life at home could look like. So homes are fairly simple things to run. Most things in a home come with an off and on switch or a little dial that we tend to all understand, but have a few complicated pieces of equipment that mean we don't think much about how to optimize them. Whether this is a boiler we just hope and pray will always work in the deepest, darkest winters, or a washing machine that we just throw stuff into and hope that it gets clean. One of the things that nationally the government has mandated in an attempt to make us understand energy and make energy use a bit more transparent, is the introduction of smart meters. I don't know if you've got one yet. I was with a energy company for a while and was bugging them, give me a smart meter. They did eventually, but yes, I have one now, and they're actually brilliant little guys who give you very interesting data about energy and costs and everything associated with it. To be honest, I don't really know how much our appliances use, and now we're on this Octopus Agile tariff that I mentioned in the last episode. I kind of want to know. I want to know when to shift my electricity to and how much I can shift so that we can really gain on this Agile tariff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the last episode and I'll explain it a little bit more there. So in this episode, I'm going to go around my house with my trusty smart meter and try and understand a little bit the impact of everything we use. And then maybe I'll give some tips about how we can reduce our energy use in everyday life.
Let's have a look at washing machine. We're starting on 255. We're going to put it on mixed load at 30 degrees. It's gone up 20 watts. I guess when it heats water, it might go up more. I'll keep an eye on it. So when we started heating up the water, it looks like it used about 1.8 kilowatts to do that.
How about a dishwasher? We're currently on 55 watts. What happens when we turn this guy on? Okay, it's full, ready to go. We turn it on. It's gone up to 86 watts. Very interesting.
Again, when the dishwasher started heating up water, it looks like it's gone up by about 2 kilowatts. It's all the heating water stuff, that's what it does.
So time for an early afternoon coffee. We've got the washing machine on in the background, so we're going around 200 watts already. But I wonder what grinding our snazzy nice Manumit beans, what that'll add. Here we go. I think that's about 300 watts. Okay, so now to boil the water for the coffee. My kettle says it's 2.5 to 3 kilowatts in power. I think at that rating it should take about 97 seconds to boil. Let's see how much power it uses, and let's see whether it takes that long. There you go, that just went up by 2.4 kilowatts, like that. Should boil any moment. Sweet. Some microwave pasta for lunch. We're gonna put it on for 1 minute 30. 1.61. It's like 1.3 kilowatts. As you can see, I've got luscious locks. Sometimes I need to dry my hair. How much does that use?
It looks like about 1.8 kilowatts-ish.
And if you put it on cold flow, it drops down by a kilowatt. Amazing. We've done quite a lot of DIY in our house over the last couple of years. Sometimes we used a sander. Like 60 watts. Okay, what about a boiler? It doesn't really use much electricity. When the heating's on, it very much does use some, but not a lot. It's like less than 100 watts or something. But these are the things that do most of our missions in a home, because they're heating hot water and they're heating our rooms. What I encourage you to do is to get to know your programmer, these little guys, sort out the timings, and get your thermostat set properly. If I'm honest, ours isn't set up that well. We don't have a thermostat. I just play with it to reduce the time. I'm hoping to get one soon, and that will save us a lot of energy. The other thing is, what temperature do you need your water at? Most of the time, radiators give off loads of heat at whatever temperature they are set to. You can change that temperature to give off more heat, bad, or give off less heat, better. As long as your rooms are getting warm enough, then I encourage you to turn that down a little bit. It means that the condensing boilers, if it's a condensing boiler, they work more efficiently. The other thing is, what temperature do you set your hot water at? This guy, move it up and down. What do you need it at? I kind of recommend you get it above
58, 60, that kind of temperature. Make sure it's serviced, make sure it's working well, and get a good thermostat if you can. So you can control the heat and you can control when you use energy. It's really important. How about a toaster? I've not got anything to toast. Sad. I want some toast. But let's show you dead quick how much it uses. When I put this toaster on, Esther's actually using the microwave at the moment, so there's a little bit already. But this guy... Okay, I just pressed it and it fused everything. Nightmare. But it's going to work now. So how much energy does a toaster use? About a kilowatt. Interesting. It's the next day. I've just finished work for the evening. What does all that mean for us? Everything uses energy. Boiling water in particular, or heating things, use the most. So should we just stop living our normal lives? We kind of have, haven't we, with this quarantine stuff? Or should we just get a little bit smarter? So here are my 10 tips for being a bit smarter with our energy at home. Number 1, it's an everyday one. Simply work out how much water you need for a cup of coffee, cup of tea, boil that right amount of water, no more, and you get a quicker drink, and you save a bunch of energy. Dead simple. Number 2, use heat when you need it, not all the time. Learn how your thermostat and your programmer work. Stay on top of timings as the weather gets warmer like it is doing now. And when it's cold, see if you can cope with heating to 18 or 19 degrees with a jumper on rather than 23 degrees in shorts. Number 3, when it's cold outside, let any hot water, wherever you heat water up, let it sit and cool down, whether it's in a bath or in a sink or wherever it is. Let it sit and cool down. Save all that heat from going down the drain, and it'll help warm up your room ever so slightly. Number 4, during winter, spring and autumn, open the curtains when it's light, close them when it's dark. Let the heat from the sun in when it can, and keep that heat in when there's no sun outside. Solar gain is really important. In the summer, it sometimes means that rooms overheat, so it's sometimes good to keep the curtains closed then. But during the winter, spring and autumn, when you need to heat, let the sunlight in. Number 5 is lights. I didn't really mention lights in my smart meter shenanigans. All of our lights are LEDs, which use tiny amounts of energy, so switch to LEDs. But what we should be doing is when they're not needed, we should be turning lights off. It's even like a culture thing. Treat energy as a precious resource that it is, not something that we can throw away easily. If you start with lights, you start to pick up things everywhere. So turn off lights when you don't need them. Number 6, simply get your own smart meter. If you've not got one already, bug your energy supplier to get you one, and get a generation 2 one so that they can transfer to other people, and then have a little look at the energy they use. Start to understand where you're using energy in the home. Number 7, do your washing at 30. Simple. Don't heat up any further than 30. It gets your clothes clean, they probably last a little bit longer, and you save a bunch of energy. And if you wear raw denim, or denim at all, don't wash. Don't wash your jeans. You don't need to, I promise, it's okay. I'll put a link below about that. Number 8, for most of the year, and unless you're late for a job interview or a wedding, simply don't use a tumble dryer. Get rid of it, scrap it, bin it, whatever you need to do. Dry naturally. Tumble dryers are massive wastes of energy when you can just dry naturally in the home. I realised that for some of the year in winter, drying naturally in the home can be a bit of a nightmare, particularly if you haven't got well ventilated spaces. So I understand that for some people during the winter you need to tumble dry, but for the rest of the year, get your drying rack outside wherever you can, or get the windows open and you can dry it that way. Number 9, leave the lid on a pan of boiling water and turn the heat down. Sometimes you can have the heat on really high, the lid off, bubbling away, you're just letting heat out and it's not efficient. Leave the lid on, turn the heat down, save that gas or save that electricity in heat and water. Number 10, this saves water and it saves energy. Take showers together. Who put that one in? Nah, naughty. Or instead of taking showers together, reduce the length of time on a shower and turn the temperature down a little bit. Okay, so thank you for watching episode 3. That was a little bit of climate waffle, a ramble around the house,
and then my top 10 tips slash common sense for reducing your energy use in the home. What do you think? Can you think of any other ways to reduce energy in the home? What's your home like? Is there anything that I've missed? Let me know, get in touch, like and subscribe.